history, and it's 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Snyder, roll call, please.
Doug.
Here.
Karen.
Here.
John.
Here.
Jerry.
Here.
Mike is absent.
So 4 council members present for the meeting, one of which is virtual. We've got tonight's agenda. I'm not aware of any changes to the agenda. So we'll take a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion for the agenda. A second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, aye. Jerry, aye. Motion carries with 4. First up, we've got our opening citizen comment. This is intended to be an opportunity for the public to address the council for matters that are on the agenda. Would anybody like to address the council before we start with the rest of the agenda? Having 2 members of the public present, neither one indicating an interest to speak, we'll move on. First up is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second. Doug, aye.
The claims weren't on the consent agenda.
Say that again, please, Karen.
I didn't get the claims on the consent agenda.
You are correct. I apologize for that. I will get them out there now. Doug did review them.
Yes, I did.
Okay. How about we shuffle that to later and then we'll come back once they've been published on Board Docs, and then we'll come back to the consent agenda. All right. So skipping consent agenda for now with the motion left hanging. We've got Community Center Police and Public Works update, since we do have a guest here related to Public Works items. Yes. Correct. How about we start with Public Works and we'll jump right to the item here.
Sure. First one being application 4 for the Highway 20 lift station project in the amount of $134,000. So this is for ongoing work on site, delivery of some precast concrete structures and labor for the general contract on site. So I've reviewed these quantities along with our inspector and have no information.
Jane, did you review this? Yes, I did. That looks so good.
If there's any other discussion, we can have it. Otherwise, we'll take a motion. Payment number 4.
I'll make a payment number 4. Second. Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, aye. Jerry, aye. That was 4 ayes, right? Motion carries with 4. And moving right along to contract payment number 1 for Enterprise Drive Gravity Sewer Project.
Correct. This is application 1 for this project for work completed to date. I'm sure most of you have noticed along Enterprise Drive, installation of the gravity sewer main, some site restoration, concrete structures. Same deal. We've confirmed these quantities on site with our inspector. I believe he's given them a look as well.
Make a motion to approve payment number 1, Enterprise Drive. Second project. Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, aye. Jerry, aye. Motion carries with 4. And following on the theme, we've got Enterprise Drive and Gravity Sewer Project change order number 1.
Right, this change order pertains to the realignment of the sewer due to some underground utilities discovered during construction, being some electric lines on the south side of Enterprise and a gas main on the east side of Peosta Street. So that resulted in, it wasn't picked up by one call when we called in for locates during design and surveying efforts. They came out when the contractor called for the dig construction call and located them. This is how they came to light. So this isn't a lump sum cost. This is just our estimate based on some of the modified footage, you know, per unit price on Chick-fil-A's bid. So some extra footage with the realignment as well as a change in installation method up along Peosta. They're looking to directionally drill that due to some of the gas and other utility.
I'm assuming when your project's done, you have everything GPSed in.
Correct.
Will, like, these lines that were found that will they be GPSed in?
Yeah, we'll pick them up. Yep, we've got a total station, or excuse me, a mobile data collector. We'll shoot those.
And not big on surprise gas lines.
Pardon?
So not big on surprise gas lines.
No.
I was looking through, is there normally an itemized sheet for the change? I'm not seeing, I just see a total number on the cover page.
Like I said, this isn't set in stone. It's all kind of be field verified on their unit price for the actual installed footage. So this is our estimate. It's not binding by any means. It's just basically based on the alignment agreed to by our engineer and the contractor. These are kind of, you know, shorten up a run here and then some extra footage here based on their unit prices. That's what it's
Okay,
played out.
so is this something we would typically act on, or is this a FYI?
Basically, you're acting on the new alignments, approving the new alignment, not necessarily any kind of cost.
Okay, thank you
The
for
cost
clarifying.
was included just for your information,
All right,
a conservative estimate.
Dean?
Yeah, so we did all get together and have a group gathering up there and discuss the situation. Felt that considering, you know, the layout of the existing utilities, it would probably be best go with the directional drilling route. There's a little bit of savings, I believe, and I don't know if that's shown on that change order.
Right, some concrete work that was
Some savings on the concrete end, so there'd be a little bit of modification both ways on the adjustment on the quantities of both directions, so yes.
Do you support the realignment?
I do support the realignment, yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the council?
I'll make a motion on a change order. I'll second. Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, aye.
Jerry, aye.
Motion carries with 4. Are there any other items here that you're representing, Jake?
Nope.
All
stick
right,
around though.
very good. Thank you. We'll stay in Public Works and go back to the beginning of it then and take discussion for the monthly reports. Director Ludwig?
So yes, starting out, I guess if there's any questions on any of the items, fire away.
When's the compost close normally?
December 1st. I think we're noticing a little bit of abuse on the compost. Next year, we may have to consider some camera.
Abuse from non-residents using it.
Mhm. Contractors. Yep. And possibly, you know, if we ever find somebody has a better ideas for a site, you know, maybe for somewhere hidden a little bit better or whatever it may be, might be maybe a site change is better.
There are
Sure,
some
just some
cities
food for
that lock it up. And you have to come to City Hall to get a key, return the key by a certain time. That does, it's not nearly as convenient, but it does prevent abuse.
Well, I think we need to start looking, because I think the rules are changing on the compost stuff through the DNR, where it has to be in a fenced in area and locked.
How soon do you think that's changing?
Year to 2 years. It's a rule change now. So,
And you said that's driven by the DNR?
That may be something we have to think about, in the near future, that, open it up in the morning when we start, and lock it up in the afternoon or something. Really,
Probably want to keep it close to the garage then.
absolutely. Something a little more convenient would be ideal.
It's end of the new gravel road over there by the wastewater.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be too much going on with development the next few years. I think it'd be more of a hassle having it back there, inconvenience and somewhat of maybe a safety concern back there. Next few years of development, more so than anything. So. Yeah, I don't know. Haven't really come up with a good site for that yet, but I thought it was gonna work out up there. I thought there'd be enough public eye on it up there where they'd be recognized if they're out of town. But I think a camera might help as well.
Cameras would help. Would pick up the commercial. There is commercial getting dropped there all the time.
Yeah, we've been noticing more so in the trees lately, probably last month. It's been abused with the tree clippings. So, and it's quite obvious that they've been coming in large quantities, so they're either off a single axle dump truck or a dump trailer or something of that sort. Just by the size of the bundles. So it's obviously being abused.
I think we should look at a camera.
Do we have internet there?
Peosta Valley may have internet up there, but
Yeah. So my name says internet in their building, so there would be internet up there. I just don't think it's common to.
right. Coconut Valley's definitely.
Who's the nearest building?
Mighty have a place in OC.
Cleaning systems or the old Harris building, one of the two. You probably want on both, maybe. Get a couple angles.
I wonder if either of them are willing to let us put a camera on their building and use their Wi-Fi.
We could check with them.
That we can ask.
There's a light that lets real convenient there too, as far as on the camera, so it'd be just a matter of getting Wi-Fi to it. It's too bad it's being abused. I mean, the people in town appreciate the fact that it's there, but it's just.
What's the consequence if somebody uses it and is identified as not being a resident?
I think it's posted up there, $500 fine.
Here, I'll read.
Yeah, I just sent Jerry a picture of it today to
I just
revise.
reprint it.
Well, that's fine. I trust that. Somebody's gonna need to review camera footage and actually do the job of chasing them down, warning or fining. Who's gonna do that?
Dumping subject to $500.
Assuming it's gonna fall on.
Both ends of the table volunteered.
$500 plus cleanup costs.
Only if I get deputized.
Oh, boy.
If it's something we do fence it in and lock it up and play that game for 3 months, 4 months, just so that people recognize the fact that it is locked up and, maybe the people will be entertained to people that are abusing it, turning them in, get help from the residents that way.
Yeah, you could
Just a
look it up,
thought.
post it. The reason of is because it's being abused.
Correct.
This sign needs to be updated too. It's a little faded up there.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Jerry's work.
Got it. Perfect.
Karen, anything to add to the discussion?
Actually, I was wondering if they took down a tree or a bunch of bushes in Peosta for a Peosta resident, do they have the right to dump there then?
Yes, they do. It is for Peosta residents, but there are size requirements that have to be maintained. That is posted on the sign as well.
Oh, I don't know if I ever saw that. I guess I should look.
Don't feel bad. You're not the only one.
No, I was just curious because I thought, well, if they took down a tree in Piasta, the resident might say, well, you can dump it up here, but,
Up and over 6 inches, Karen.
okay, thank you.
6 inches in diameter.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Specified as walks.
Other than that, if anybody has no questions, the only thing I wanted to add is the fact that Enterprise Drive Chick-fil-A will start removing pavement on Enterprise Drive next week, so that will be shut down other than local deliveries. So just something to maybe pass the word and keep in mind too.
Have we done an official notification of some sort to the affected businesses?
We haven't yet,
Okay,
but we can certainly do that.
Yeah, and on top of that, that is a responsibility of the contractor as well. They've been staying in touch with the business, so.
okay.
And as a matter of fact, I just reminded them today again about it, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't mean to be specific that it needs to come from us, as long as the businesses get notice that it's happening and what contact if they got a concern.
Yep, the arrangements are to be made by the contractor.
Super, thank you. I have one question, Dean, on the water usage. Do you see a trend of growth that coincides with the way the city is expanding?
You know, it was a hard summer to judge that on, just due to the fact that it's as dry as it was. We went, you know, the month of June, July, end of May, I think we're up there on volume, on quantities. It started to drop off now quite a bit though. So.
What's on my mind as I say that at some point, we're gonna talk about water capacity for the city, and as we continue to grow, that's another something that's gonna need a significant investment.
Yep. Just a fact, there is a water study at this current time being done.
Oh,
By V&K.
okay. Great. That was,
You track it every month too, so you can see by month the gallons pumped.
oh, there you go. So I would expect there's some seasonality to that, right?
Right.
So the value there would be seeing it year over year. And then the other number that I think matters is what's our capacity? Now, can that be turned into a percent capacity kind of a number? So we see as we're approaching our limit of what we can safely and reliably do.
Yep. Yeah, and that's another thing in that water study that's being considered as well.
Awesome.
Holding capacity.
Way ahead of me. Anything else for Dean? All right, thanks, Dean. And then the last one here is the wastewater treatment facility contract payment number 13. Looks like this one is amount due this time, $366,486. Would you care to address this one, Dean, or give your perspective?
So I looked through it. Everything appears to be correct on that as well, to my knowledge. So I think we're safe to say that, yes, that payment can be made. We're getting real close to startup of that. As a matter of fact, we've been doing some walkthroughs with some of the representatives of the, depending on the stationings of the route that the sewage flows. So we went through 3 or 4 different reps on that as well. So we're getting real close, probably within a month.
Super.
I'll make a motion for contract payment 13.
I'll second. Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
Carry aye.
Motion carries with 4. If my notes are correct, that closes out the public works section. Is it premature to go back to the consent agenda, Karen?
It's out there.
Karen Lyons, have you had a chance to see what you
Yeah.
want to see yet?
Yeah, I looked it over.
All right, are we prepared to
you.
take a motion?
Yeah. Yes,
Actually, we have a motion already from Doug. We would need a second.
I'll second. Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, aye. You're aye.
Motion carries with 4, and I get to check that box. Thank you. All right. Let's go back to the Peosta Community Center and the update from Director Bauer.
Okay, so a couple, I guess, differences than the past, obviously my usual reports there. Last month, the mayor had asked me to do kind of a table of sorts to kind of go a little more in depth in different areas. Second attachment there. I guess, do you guys have any questions on it? Anything else you'd like to see? Anything that's confusing?
We talked about this utilization summary. Thank you for putting this together. I understand you were working on it prior to our discussion. What's the takeaway? Can you give the executive summary of what this tells you as you look at it?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is gonna be, I started this way back in 2000, I think the report I found was 14. And then it fell off the boat. So kind of revised it from there. But I think the biggest takeaway is just as we continue to grow, as we continue to see more revenue, more members or less members, but be able to see those trends and kind of where we're going, which areas are being used the most to help answer questions in the future. You know, you guys asked if we do relocate City Hall, what goes? Turned away this many events, it would be awesome to have a room to be able to hold more events type of deal. Would be what I see from it.
Is there anything that's outstanding to you of what keeps being asked to bring to the community center, like golf simulator?
Keeps being asked?
Yeah,
No, I will say I have been asked.
but I mean, is there anything out there that keeps on coming back every year that God wish we had?
PCC wise?
Yeah,
Okay, so not parks wise.
no,
No, I mean, one of my wish lists from the beginning was updated equipment in the weight room would be one of my consistent. But I feel like we have different niches, right? So we have people that just use fitness classes or just use weight room. So the way rest of that, I have gotten golf simulator questions. I've gotten, can we add a batting cage to the backcourt so we have more batting cages? I mean, we've had that kind of stuff, but not anything that's overwhelmingly, we should have done this already, or we've had so many requests that we should 100% do it. I do think a golf simulator would be awesome. So there's that. I've actually looked into it. I've actually got a few quotes on different brands out there to see what our options would be. They're pricey. I don't know if that answered your question or not.
yep, I was just curious if there's anything just recurring that people keep asking for to expand on or anything inside.
Since we're getting down to the end of the year, is there any specials or incentives done in the past that we might want to think of for signing up again or getting new members to sign up in the first year?
We haven't done it in the past. We do, like always for the new year and stuff, or in that gap time and holiday time, we always offer like month specials. But that's cool. It's geared towards obviously people that want to come and just test it out, right? That don't want to take the leap and do the month. But also for those that are visiting for the holidays, that will absolutely offer promotions there. We've done promotions on annual memberships.
So we do short-term memberships just for the holidays? Do you think we should probably open those up for longer and make them short-term? If somebody's traveling or whatever within the area, college or whatever?
All they have to do is ask.
Yeah.
And they do. And we have had many people that, you know, coming for Thanksgiving. Well, Thanksgiving is covered within the holiday, but we've had different people that visit for a week and we work it out with them.
I know some of them do like you get 6 months versus a 12 or maybe do something like that.
And we have 6-month memberships. I mean, not discounted, but we have 6 month. We added 3-month a couple of years ago for some of that to try to make the snowbirds and that kind of stuff so they can use it before they go to Arizona for the time they're inside that. So we tried to kind of adapt our memberships to include everyone, or try to.
When you mentioned incentives, the first thing that went to my mind was the New Year's resolution deal. Month upfront and then a discount on the other 11 if you stick with it.
Yeah. It's the tracking, I think, is the hard part.
Yeah.
You're saying like incentives.
I'm saying it as a joke. So many people buy gym memberships for the new year.
So what, we've got last month with 598 memberships, and then what is the membership usage at?
That's how many clicks. Come in and, well, I mean, obviously clicks or typing in names, but that's how many. And that doesn't include obviously weddings, showers, that kind of stuff that don't sign in. So actual users of the facility. So kids coming after school use the gym, or, you know, people going in the weight room, use the weight room.
People that swiped.
Correct.
So if you've got 600 people and 2,400 usage, then on average, each person came in 4 times.
Well, and keep in mind that 598 are primary members, so those are just memberships. So what that actually shows is that not everyone uses their membership. So like the 600 are families too, right? So John counts as 1 in here, but he is 4.
Five.
Five.
I don't like the like it's 20 there. I don't.
Okay,
Does that make sense? So it's just 1, each membership counts as 1. It doesn't count as 1 for wife, kids, yeah.
so I think to the original question that you and I had in the discussion, Stacy, it looks like the answer's there in the bottom right corner. If we had infinite room, there'd be a potential for another $10,000 of revenue.
No, that is gym. If you go to meeting room, I don't have those numbers for all year, like as far as, so I did it for each one. Does that make sense? So
Yep.
meeting room last month, it would have been an additional $5. Again, it is us getting used to making a tally when we turn people away. So I wouldn't say that number is completely accurate, but we're working on it to be more accurate. The one on the bottom is tournaments.
I see that now. Thank you.
Are you seeing any difference from last year to this year for basketball tournament, or volleyball because of COVID?
In terms of,
Amount of requests wanting to use the gym?
I'm probably, I mean, there was an uptick last year. I mean, I could have booked everything and still not had enough room this year, as far as Saturday and Sundays. So I don't know if I'd say more or less, I still.
It's the same as last year.
Correct, oh, absolutely. What we haven't hit is that's for tournaments for like gym rental and that kind of stuff. That I'm hoping we're not as tight. I'm hoping that with some of the school, whatever we. Gym time. But we're not really there yet. It's getting to be that kind of time of year.
One of your bullets in here, Stacy, is working on hiring staff, for the front desk and for bartenders.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand. We recently took action to try to make that less trouble.
Yep.
Have you seen much of it?
No, I guess would be my easy answer. I don't even know that a price would matter. I've had this conversation. I think we could raise it to $20 an hour, and I don't know that right now would matter. Like, getting people in the door has been hard. Getting them to show up for interviews has been hard. If we send them on from the interview, which has been most people, right, to the drug test, getting them to show up for drug tests has been hard. So we're working on it. We've had, I think, 5 or 6 interviews already this week. So any application we're getting, we're trying to get them in the door. At this point, that's all we can.
Is there anything that we could provide that would make it easier?
Not yet. I would be lying if I said I haven't thought about different things. Like if we continue the way we're going, we have to look at, I don't know if we shrink hours or if we whatever, but if, obviously that's not my end goal, it's not whatever, but right now, I will tell you that Ty, Vicky and I are covering a lot of shifts at a lot of random times because we just don't have it, whether it's bartending, whether it's flips, whether it's front desk, whatever. We have our loyal ones that have been amazing. But other than that, we're definitely struggling. So. I'm optimistic. I'm hoping some of our interviews can out this week. I'm hoping that hopefully it.
Is there anything NICC could do to help those kids?
We went to a fair there, like their job fair when they first opened. like started going back to school and stuff to try to recruit kids. Haven't seen much from that, no. So, and then we're actually, in years, I've never hired a 14, 15-year-old, also opening that, so to try to get anyone in, so it might bite me later, but
Have you advertised at the school?
the like NICC school or
No,
high
at
school?
what, the high school?
I have not visited. I have put little moles there as far as our current employees to try to recruit.
You can actually
But
put a note on their daily, whatever the daily announcements,
Okay.
been looking for hire, for here, see, I think you had to talk to one of the counselors, they'll be able to put that in,
okay,
up to Casey, she'll be able to help you out.
I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but what other incentives do we offer besides?
that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, free memberships, obviously one is a huge perk. Extremely flexible hours as far as we don't allocate hours, we let them pick hours, like we try to be as flexible as possible from that. I don't know what other perks, we don't have any like sign-on bonuses or retention bonuses or anything like that at this point. We did do the adding the extra hour for nights and weekends, $1 an hour, hasn't been I'm gonna work nights and weekends now, that I was kind of hoping it would be more.
Okay.
So,
I know a lot of industries are fighting the same fight.
oh, yeah, I mean, everyone I talked to is fighting the same fight.
Some of the solutions I hear involve, like you mentioned, sign-on bonuses or longevity benefit of some sort. Make it this far in, and here's a lump something, or something you get for sticking around. To John's point, I think the interest is here to try to make sure you've got the tools you need so you guys aren't having to cover these odd shifts. That's not what we're intending for your job to be. So please don't hesitate to ask if you see something you think help.
Is there one job harder to fill than the other, like bartender versus front desk? Or-
I think bartender, we're getting closer. I think as far as I think now, I think this said 9, I think we have 7 events left. I'm not as worried about that. Flips, I don't know that we have many doubles left, so I'm not as worried about that. That's one of the hard ones to sell someone to come in at midnight and to work isn't exactly the easiest sell. But by far, I would say front desk nights and weekends has been our Achilles heel, if you will. So we're trying. So cross our fingers. We had a couple of drug tests, I think, today and one tomorrow. So hopefully I think today showed up. I think it goes to you guys. Okay, and then hopefully we're getting there.
It's not immediate help, but there's also the college suites. Once that's full, maybe there's more potential employees.
That was my hope, was that once they lived there, it would be nice, not too far away. I'm sure their businesses in Peosta are thinking.
Get them a good trail between here and there. Okay. And so it was mentioned in there somewhere, you clarified, was this a PCC question or a park question?
Yeah,
That was I think just a note we could take away on the agenda. Should we make this PCC and parks? And be a little bit more deliberate about including a parks discussion in our meetings. I don't know that we need to make that now, but I'll throw that out as a suggestion.
I think it's a great suggestion.
I think it's great. I mean, as far as moving forward, it's awesome to have some.
Or do we call it just Parks and Recreation and make it more of an umbrella? Knowing that includes PCC.
Whatever you think's best, it would just, whatever drives the right conversation for you. Now, if a heading change does that, then let's do that. Any other discussion on PCC or parks? Karen Lyons, you still tracking well with us?
I'm here.
Alright, I do have one other, if you guys are done with questions from that stuff. A month and change ago, I submitted an application for the Iowa Fitness Center Relief Grant. Essentially, it's supposed to help fitness centers with losses incurred in 2020 because of COVID-19. Typically, we usually don't qualify for that because we are city, county related. I specifically asked that question before I did anything with it, and they said we were. I got an email today saying that we actually, were approved for an amount of $129,220.70. So I still have questions as far as how requirements for allocation of funds and stuff, but awesome addition to,
That's fantastic.
yeah, so. Yeah, it's my good news to end with.
That's awesome. Well done.
Good work.
Good cow, yeah. That's a beautiful, that gets an applause. Well done. All right.
No, sign up. Let's just at the front desk.
Anything else for PCC or parks?
AI.
All right, we will now move, thank you, Stacy. We'll move on to police.
You guys have my monthly report in front of you, or all of, what, 5 or 6 reports in front of you guys. I'll just kind of elaborate what I have here. Last month, I told you I'd give you the statistics for the STEP grant. They're there, if you guys are interested in looking at that. The COPS grant, still have not heard any news on that. Again, we were supposed to hear anywhere from October 1st to December 31st. I'm hoping it's sooner than later. New car purchase, it's in production. That's all I know at this point, but they do not have an ETA at this time. So it's being built. That's all I can tell you.
That's progress.
That's progress. And then we did a lockdown drill at Peosta Elementary on September 22nd. What I do is I go to the school on the 15th and 16th. I went to school and teach the kids how to prepare for a lockdown. And then we actually have the lockdown/evacuation at the school. And everything went well. I get assisted with New County Sheriff's Office and the fire department. State over to assist with that. We basically just do a lockdown drill for an intruder that possibly may go into the building. They do their thing, we do ours. We sweep the building, make sure what they're supposed to be doing, we make sure they do it correct, and then we evacuate them over to the community center, and everything went very smooth. So
Mike, is that an annual event
it is every other year.
every other year?
So for the evacuation, that's every other year. The actual lockdown is every year.
Okay.
And then for the ATV UTV update, we had 3 issues with them. It was early on in the month. As soon as we passed the new ordinance, we had one that dropped off kids at school. They were notified they can't do that. We haven't had a problem with that since. And then the other ones were just, it was random because it was 2 of them at nighttime, past the hours, it was dark out. But since then, we haven't had any issues. So it was just earlier on in the month, so knock on wood, that's going well. Learn that.
On the ATV, UTV stuff. When you talk to them, do you tell them that this can get pulled at any time?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a warning we try to do first, because they're not aware of it. They should be aware of it, especially at nighttime.
Right.
That hasn't changed. But we give one warning, and then after that, we do a citation if needed, if it comes to that. But as for the drop off, that was just a warning that, is a new part of the ordinance. They didn't read that portion. They just read the part that it's open. So that was the issue.
Yeah, no, I just, if you let them know that, hey, this can get pulled, if we're starting to have these issues, it will get pulled.
And it really hasn't been an issue except for the first basically week, you know what I mean? Just those 3 issues right off the bat. Ever since then, it's been not gone good. It's been good, so. Yep.
On the Peosta Elementary lockdown evacuation drill, is there anything like that happens with SEMA?
Not currently. They don't want to do that currently. At this time, they have their own procedures of how they would handle those situations, but they don't follow what West Dubuque guidelines are. It's a private school.
Understand. So if they had an interest, we're prepared to support that.
Correct. Yep.
But it needs to be at their ask.
Correct.
Understand, thank you.
So that's not, it seems weird that it wouldn't be
Every school district is
facilitated
different.
by. Are you or your the officers and even the sheriff's department, are they on the same page as them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. I still go in there and talk to them about. Yeah, no, I still go in there. Right, no, we still go in there. I go into the schools all. We know how they operate and what they're gonna do in those situations.
All right. Any other discussion around PD? Karen? Karen Lyons just checking in if you're still good.
No, I don't have anything for them.
Sure you can still hear us, okay?
Oh, yes,
And we can hear you.
that's good.
All right, that's the PD section. Thank you, Chief Comer. We'll move on to development. I love the fact that we have a development section. Resolution approving the plat of survey of roadway express, place number 2.
This was brought before planning and zoning, and as I've noted in board docs, it's just a submission boundary line problem that they had. So the planning and zoning makes a recommendation to go ahead and approve.
Any discussion needed on this?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution approving plat of survey roadway express number 2.
Second, Doug, aye.
Karen, I,
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Motion carries with 4. All right. We'll move on to administration. First up is the ICAP renewal.
As I've noted in the public content, Adam Kern attended our work session and covered quite a bit of information. He did a great job. And I talked to John Kraft before the meeting, and the insurance pretty much is what it is. So we were unfortunate not to have John at that work session to kind of keep Adam on his toes. But basically everything's increasing and we need the coverage.
Right, the other thing right now that the property casualty type of stuff to do right now to control to help keep those costs down or just increase your deductibles. So I gotta get to a point, at what point, you know, how much skin you want in the game?
Yeah, and I have that in my notes too, about the deductibles.
Yes, yeah.
So you looking over this, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the ICAP renewal.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I,
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Motion carries with 4. Next up is the cyber insurance.
At the work session, there was one question that was raised about using Microsoft Teams and making sure that we had that layered information in place. And I do have that question out to ITS and they're looking into it. But the basic recommendation was, yes, we do need that MFA in there to protect us. So as soon as I get some costs back on that, I don't anticipate it being substantial, but I too would recommend that we do have that protection level in place, especially with cyber attacks being the way they are.
And that's that while important, that's relatively independent from the cyber insurance policy, right?
Yes.
The cyber insurance policy we have had before. This is a renewal, not new.
We did have one last year as well. It was, it's a second year.
Right, yeah, it is important.
But it's a different company.
Okay.
I'll make a motion for cyber renewal.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I,
John, I.
Jerry, I.
Motion carries with 4. All right, next up is the employee dental insurance renewal.
Again, this is a recommendation based off of Adam and the information that he relayed to us at our work session. The renewal is right with alignment. it's a good value at the level of pricing that we're getting for our employees.
Make a motion to approve the employee dental insurance renewal.
Second. Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, I.
Yeah.
Motion carries with 4. Next up is a resolution authorizing budgetary transfers for fiscal year ending June 2022.
And this is all the items that have been budgeted so far. Typically, we make this transfer after we get our one of our big property tax payments, because a lot of it is coming from the general fund. So those items have all been budgeted.
Make motion to approve the budget transfers.
Second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, I.
Aaron, aye.
Motion carries with 4.
John, you seconded that.
Sorry.
You seconded that?
Yes. We'll move right along to the sign permits and ICC.
The applicant met with the Board of Adjustment and they came to an agreement on moving sign A, which was one of the problem signs, to where sign E is at. There was also a question of the sign size being too large and the signs being within that 150-foot distance between that we have in our ordinance. It's a little hard to enforce that portion of it because at our current roundabout, we have signs that are well within that 150-foot distance. So the planning and zoning is taking on the sign ordinance to go back and revise it so that we can correct this moving forward, so that we're not having these issues come up. And they will take that task on in November.
Make the motion to approve the NICC sign permits.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, I.
Aaron, aye.
Motion carries with 4. And Ned, if you would, on my behalf, pass the appreciation along to the planning and zoning that they're willing to take that on and
Absolutely.
address that problem at the root. That's great to hear. Then we'll move on to the resolution authorizing internal advance for funding of urban renewal project, specifically Jumble Coffee.
Really not much more to say other than we've got the development agreement done. We've got the forgivable loan in place. This is just moving the money.
Make the motion to approve the resolution for Jumble Coffee.
I'll second.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
John, I.
Aaron, I.
Motion carries with 4. So before going to our final citizen comment, I'll just ask the council staff and everyone to cover. Anybody from the public wish to address the council for matters not appearing on the agenda? Nobody in the room? Do we have anybody online?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Doug, aye.
Karen, I.
Motion carries with 4. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Steve,